Well, the difference in the aces coming into this match, Jerry, is fairly striking. 38 have been served by Agassi in his 6 matches. 117 have been served by Sampras. Well, that point stopped a run of 3 service games by Agassi to love. They're making statements at each other here, I think. Sampras served a last service game to love.
This is 3-4.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I love Dave. That's good for the morale. We're back level at 4 games all. 4th set, 2 sets to 1 up. But unless there's a change in the texture of this match again suddenly, he's going to be finding himself serving to stay in the set. And that's when we're going to find out whether he's got his confidence back again.
Well, he shakes his head and smiles, but it's so easy to do that because you know the opponent is expecting that. He's on his way, Sampras was. So you want to put it wide and deep.
Good defensive hitting by Sampras for 3 or 4 shots. But again, the difference was that Agassi was onto the ball early and wanting to have a crack at it. And he hadn't got the confidence to do that early in the match.
Well, I just don't see why Sampras didn't play his slice here. He seemed to change his mind in mid-shot. If you watch the racket closely, it started off in the slicing mode and ended up rather like a table tennis shot coming over it.
sir.
I thought Sampras just faintly ran out of steam here. He eventually ended up trying to chop at this ball rather like Courier does late.
Agassi 5-4 in the next game. Sampras is going to face a crisis.
Agassi leads 5-4.
You're watching Sky Sports.
For your chance to fly free on Virgin Upper Class for the rest of your life, you can either buy the Times tomorrow or buy the airline.
We can't afford to be without it.
Starting tomorrow, fly free for life on Virgin Upper Class, only in the Times.
Yes, an ace! I've won!
Over 38 million winning tickets with new Aces High. Forget it all for an instance.
If you're looking for a used car, let your Rover dealer look for you. He has immediate access to a wide variety of quality used Rovers. He'll find the model you want with the features you want, and he'll ensure it's been checked and approved by a specialist Rover inspector before you take delivery. At Rover dealers, we care enough to take all the worry out of acquiring a used car. Well, nearly all.
There's so much hanging on this final. The most you could possibly have, really, because they both know it's for the #1 position in the world, even if not on the computer's ranking list tomorrow. That it's proving a burden to them both. And I don't think there's ever been a time in the match when either has really moved into a sequence of free hitting and total domination. But champions are the people who can win somehow when they're not doing very well. And this is a particularly testing game, I think, for Sampras. 4-5 down.
Well, if he gets a good first serve in, that's, well, you can call it a cheap point. But if he doesn't, he's got to face a point full of tension and rallies. So Agassi is beginning to look a little bit puffed as well now.
Thank you.
He's especially sensitive, like a lot of artists.
You don't often see that. Agassi actually hitting the ball so deep that Sampras played a volley about a foot inside the baseline. But he had to. It was going in, the shot.
Just 1 point conceded there. Showed a lot of manliness there, Sampras. 5 games all. Oh, who's going to blink first?
Well, what an interesting point. Both living on the nerves a bit here. Sampras daring to play this down the line. Then another one down the line after that. Going forward here, now down the line. And then that lob that failed. Shouldn't have failed. Agassi's good at that one.
He's refound his timing in this game. The first 2 points at least here, Sampras has played exactly the way he played the first 2 sets. Subtle floating of the ball, teasing Agassi.
It was subtle. It was subtle. Very heavily back spun, slicing, keeps low. Love 30.
Love 40. Now, suddenly, Sampras can collar the final. He breaks here, he serves for the championship.
Such good serving. What a pro. 2 first serves, accurate. 1 to go.
It's out, and now he's going to serve for the match. It's been a long haul through the undergrowth. And suddenly, Sampras at last, when really didn't look as if it was going to happen, Sampras can see the light.
It's incredible how quickly these things happen. Agassi has been looking so dangerous all the way through. Sampras certainly looking tired, certainly looking anxious. And then suddenly Agassi was too. And that was reflected in that shot. His bread and butter forehand, which he never misses, but here he does. What a relief for Sampras. He sees himself on the podium as that ball goes low, long. Well, he served so well in this set that it would take a strong man to believe that Sampras really wouldn't serve out this match right here. Been a strange match, this, Jerry, of seesaws and one player slightly on top and one getting worried and then falling apart. It's been a strange match, not the usual match between these 2 great tennis players.
Well, Sampras is going to come out now, and he's going to serve. He's got the shot to do it. His serve's his biggest shot. He's going to serve to win Wimbledon and the United States Open for the 2nd time in the same year. And only 5 other people have ever done that. Macken, O'Connors, Laver, Budge, Perry, and Tilden.
Thank you.
For the championship, this. The crowd will just keep quiet. 5 minutes short of 2.5 hours. His 23rd ace. Two to go. Three championship points. The first American in history to win the Wimbledon Championship 3 years in succession. Now goes for his 7th Grand Slam singles title. And he gets it with the shot that held him together when it seemed that he was falling apart in the middle of the match, having taken a lead of 2 sets to love. It was that that held him together. In the end, just in the game before that, suddenly he refound the game plan that had been too foxy for Agassi. They both agreed beforehand that whoever won this could claim to be the player of the year.
Well, there's his team. Brooke Shields, no doubt disappointed. She's been a staunch supporter for Agassi all the way through.
Going to Chicago and beat you in some golf in a couple of days.
Suddenly,
Thanks for your help, bud.
all those shadows have left him. Suddenly, he looks a happy man.
Did you hear what he shouted then too? Thanks, Tim. That was for Tim Gullickson, who'll be watching on television. That really is wonderful. That shows just how deeply he feels. There's Tim Gullickson's twin brother, Tom, who flew up to him to see him on his twin brother on his birthday just 3 days ago. Tom Gullickson, the Davis Cup captain. Sampras is just about overwhelmed. Yeah.
Well, it's typical of the man, isn't it? Because they're not coach and player. I mean, they're buddies. They're real good friends, and the whole world of tennis misses Tim. And welcome back.
There you are. The US Open champion of this year is as near to tears as we're going to see him. And this is where he finished it off.
From the home of sport, this is Sky Sports.
Hello, Zero, this is Alpha 32, heading to your location via route data. Deputy stable, confirm ready on standby, over.
Many confirmed, over.
Hello, Zero, this is Alpha 32, crossing point is down, assessing situation, over.
Crossing point down, confirmed, backup availability. Sit rep and details of any requirements in area movement.
Andre Agassi, who's been the hot player of the year, sits there almost bemused. Sampras has been biting back the tears, and in case you think we're exaggerating, here you are. He's had to cover his eyes again. This is the man who, in the quarterfinals of the Australian Open at the start of the year, wept his way through about 20 minutes against Jim Courier, because he just heard at that time how serious was Tim Gullickson's illness, life-threatening. Wonderfully, mercifully, he's recovering, Tim, and as we were telling you earlier, he's going to be at the Davis Cup tie the week after next in Las Vegas to see Pete and Andre play for America against Swedes. So Sampras has got to recover, because he's going to be interviewed, as is Agassi, by Tony Trabert.
Jerry, I think it's a measure of the man, really, that he finds the emotion of thinking about Tim even more overwhelming than the fact that he's just won this huge title.
Yes, I think people have always misunderstood Sampras. They see him as the sort of imperturbable, cool beach boy, and he's not that at all. And I think, you know, it's because he's so understated and so disciplined that times like this, he almost finds it beyond him to control his emotion. What we're waiting for here, would you believe, is American television to come out of a commercial break. The US Open, as ever, is desperately conscious of what happens on television.
Well, nobody wins this title unless they're a great, great player. I can't see anybody down that list who is not just a fantastic tennis player. It can, I suppose, happen on grass that a great server wins. It has done in the past. But here, you go through 7 rounds of 5-set matches on this unyielding surface.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have the
and
2
it's
best
tough.
players in the world. We hope you enjoyed it.
That's the voice of Tony Trabert, former American Davis Cup player, great champion himself, now a television commentator.
Andre, congratulations on a wonderful tournament.
Yeah, thank you. It's more than just a wonderful tournament. This is where it all started for me last year, a run that I'll never forget. So it's been a great year since being here last year, and to come back and defend my title and get to the finals, I wouldn't rather lose it to anybody else than the guy who deserves it here next to me.
He's very gracious always, Agassi.
You ran into a guy that played about as well as he can play, I think.
Well, yeah, and I also think the conditions were real tough, so it was a question of who was going to persevere and be able to stay to their game plan and keep executing their shots. And I think that, you know, when you can hold serve as easily as Pete does, it can keep your confidence real high, and he managed to stay on top of me, and I couldn't, it was an uphill battle the whole way.
Well, congratulations on a wonderful match and a great tournament. In 1990, Pete, when you won, you said, no matter what else happens, I can say that I'm the US Open champion. You can say that 3 times now. Congratulations.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I felt, I thought I had to play a perfect match today. My serve was really, you know, the main part of my game. And, you know, when you play someone as good as Andre, you really need to, you know, I need to speak up, don't I? So but you play someone who returns as well as Andre, I mean, I just have to hit the lines, and I did that pretty well. And, you know, it just came down to a couple points, and I managed to get them today.
Can you serve any better than you served today, you think?
Well, under the circumstances with the wind, you know, my second serve was pretty dodgy. You know, I double faulted quite a number of times, but the first serve, that's my best shot, and I had to rely on it today, and it worked out pretty well at the end.
Well, congratulations. Another terrific event for you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Les Snyder, who is the president of the United States Tennis Association and the chairman of the U.S. Open. Les?
Thank you, Tony. To all the fans up there, thank you very, very much for coming out and helping to make this the finest U.S. Open ever. It's my pleasure to recognize Steve Ulrich from Tampa, Florida, the chair umpire for today's match. And also, I would like to recognize the referee for this 1995 U.S. Open, Brian Early.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President and General Manager of Infinity Division, Tom Eastwood. Tom, you have some checks, I believe.
Yes, you're right, Tony. Thank you. For the 7th consecutive year, Infinity is again proud to have been sponsored of the U.S. Open Men's Singles Championship, especially this year's tournament and today's fantastic match between the 2 best men players in the world. It doesn't get better than this. Andre, congratulations on a fantastic tournament. And I have $287,500 for you.
That's about £190,000. Give or take a bob or two.
And I think you have another one in your pocket.
Yes, Tony. Pete, unbelievable tournament. I want to congratulate you on becoming the best this year at the U.S. Open. Congratulations. I have a check for $575,000.
About £383,000. But that's not...
Thank you,
that's not what they've been playing for. They've been playing for this great championship.
Les Snyder. Les, I think you have
More
a trophy.
importantly, they've been playing to be the #1 player in the world.
That has demonstrated great tennis out here today. Pete Sampras, congratulations to you.
The 1995 U.S. Open men's singles champion, Pete Sampras.
And this is the moment that Sampras, above all, would like to be sharing here with Tim Gullickson at the side of the court.
Jerry, I'd just like to say that for me, this whole event has had two perfect endings, because it's had two magnificent slugging players in Sellis and Agassi. Nobody does that better than they do. But it's also had the two most complete, wonderful tennis players winning these great championships, both of them.
It hasn't been a great year. It wasn't the regal procession that last year was for Sampras, and there were a lot of reasons for that. But in the end, it's the man who wins on the big occasion who does it. And Sampras has won twice on the biggest occasions. He won again at Wimbledon, and he's won again here. And who really would say, nobody, I think, not even Agassi, that this isn't the greatest player in the world today, and possibly the greatest there's ever been.
He's 24 years old, and he's just won his 3rd US Open, his 7th Grand Slam title. It goes along with his Wimbledon title early in the summer. Thoroughly enjoyed that, guys. Mark, just too majestic in the end. Agassi will probably be disappointed with the way he played.
I think Agassi will be disappointed. I don't think he's lived up to his form in recent months today, but I think that was down to Pete Sampras's play. I mean, he served so well, which stopped Agassi from doing what he does best, and that's returning the ball, getting into the point, putting the opponent under pressure. And I also thought Sampras's forehand was incredible today. He was hitting it harder than I've seen him hit it this tournament so far.
Do you think, Chris, that Agassi suffered a little bit from playing the second match last night, or is that not a factor? I mean, I don't want to take away from Sampras's victory there, but do you think he was less sharp than normal?
Possibly. I mean, it was a gruelling match last night against Becker. It went on for a long time, over 3 hours, so that can't have been easy. But, I mean, Agassi is fit, and so is Sampras, so I can't think that was too much of a problem. For me, Sampras just played very, very well today. And I don't know what he was saying about his second serve going astray a few times. I mean, that second serve ace he hit to win the second set, you couldn't ask for a better serve, could you, to close out that set?
At 5-all, Mark, last set, there was a missed forehand from Agassi that you wouldn't have dreamed. It was on break point. You know, you just wouldn't have dreamed Agassi. That's just tension, isn't it?
It was getting